Welcome student. So in this class we're going to be covering the topic of 3D polygonal modeling tools and modification. So let's get started. Now in the previous class you guys have learned how to create a primitive object in the poly modeling shelf over here, right? When I click, right, so for example like this cube over here, so I bring it up a bit, hit another one, hit F to focus on the object. So when you select the object, you hit F, it will center it on your 3D view. Right, now if you look at the object here, it consists of a big, we call it a big quad square of shapes, right? So it's like around here, one big one like that. Now if you create a sphere, notice how if I select both, notice how the sphere have more of this square thing on the surface here, but it's a you have more but smaller and different sizes, while this one is just one big one here. So this is the fundamental things that you need to understand and to figure out what 3D object is actually made of. Okay, so you have to learn what is the component that makes the 3D objects. So I want to show you this image here. Alright, now this shows you what the 3D object component is made of. So you see there's a dot, right? The dot is called vertex, and then the line that connects 2 or 3 or 4 vertices together is what you call edge or edges, or if you select multiple, you call edges. And then if you have it closed, then you can have a fill inside here, and you call it a fill polygon, or in Maya it's called face, right? And if you have multiple pieces of this and you can stitch them together, you are able to create a 3D representation of whatever object you want. That is the concept of the 3D objects in the polygonal mode. Okay, so the transformers you see, the video games you played, are all made of these 3 fundamental components. Now let's see how to access that. Alright, I'm just going to focus on the sphere over here. Now to access the component, because right now we are in the object mode. Object mode is the overall mode. So when you select and move, all the component move together. But what if you just want to select a vertex here, a face, or multiple faces? So you need to access the component. So to access the component, you need to hold right click at the object, make sure your mouse is at the model, and hold right click. Then you see a menu, and remember I'm still holding my mouse over here, right? And when I move around, I see some like a whip or like a spider web I'm shooting, and then I can choose either vertex, face, or edge mode. Now if you want to go back to the overall mode, you can just go to object mode, because once you enter a component, it will be locked to that component mode. So you need to exit to object mode in order to click or select other object or do other overall things or overall functions. So let's start with a vertex. I'm gonna release my mouse when it's there, and you see a lot of purple dots, right? So purple dots represents the vertex colors. So now what you can do is you can manipulate this vertex by selecting a group of them, and just simply use the transformation tool here. Let's say now is a move tool. I'm able to move it. If I want to rotate it, I can hit E and then I can rotate, or scale if I want to scale it bigger or smaller. because I want to scale it bigger. Alright, so you can also move just one by one, like so. Alright, now let's move on to the edge component. So you see when you hover your mouse, I haven't select anything. It will kind of show you what I am actually going to be selecting if I click on it. Alright, so if I can choose one of that edge and then I can just move it, same thing. But if I move one edge, I am moving two vertices at the same time. Right? Now if I want to select a loop is what you call a line that flows and it comes back to square one. So if I double click, Maya have this kind of intelligent to detect the flow, alright, and then allow you to quickly move the whole thing like that. If I want to select this middle here, I can just double click instead of me holding Control Shift and then click and click and click. I can just click or just double click and then it will select. It will try its best to detect the flow. Sometimes if you have a weird alignment of the faces, then it might not detect. Alright, another way is you select and then hold Control Shift and then double click on the next one. Right, now if I do this and then I Control Shift and double click vertically, it will detect, it will select not a loop, right, it will detect a ring selection, which means it's going, you know, and in an opposite way. Right, and because of that I can, you know, reshape the object to what I want. Okay, now let's move on to the face. So if I select both two faces, I'm just moving to Q or this one here, just selection mode. So if I select both, I mean two faces, right? So face, if you select multiple, it's called faces. Yeah, here another same thing. If I want to select a loop of faces, I can select and then hold Control Shift or even just Shift and then double click. It will try to detect the loop of that faces, and then I can move it, or I can scale it or rotate it. Same thing here, right? Or if I do this way, see, it will try to detect, but you see it ends here because from here on it doesn't know where to branch, whether you want to go here, they go here, there's so many ways, right? So it just stopped here. Alright, so that is face. So you can select multiple faces, let's say like this, and I can move it, right? So that is how you manipulate the component. So use the transformation and select the component you want, and then just, you know, go to town with it. Alright, another thing here is if you choose multi, is working on all three, you know, features. See, I can work on face, I can click on the vertex, I can click on the edge to manipulate, so that I am able to manipulate very fast. But if you're not comfortable with it, you can also do it one by one, like just go to face and, you know, start doing that. Alright, so that is how you manipulate the component. So I'm gonna hold, so I'm gonna show you something here. Now if I select these faces here, and let's say I just hold Control to unselect this one. Now let's say I choose to delete this, hit the delete on the keyboard. Look what happened here. It's just an empty shell, and you can see the inside, and usually the inside, it doesn't reflect a proper lighting, and it's usually black in color. So always show the positive side to your on the outside of your model. Always show positive side. So in the faces have positive and negative. Alright, so what you see here is a positive faces, and the black one here is the negative faces, the inside, just like your shirt lah, right? So your shirt, the front part have nice design and all, is the positive part, but your shirt on the inside won't look nice, and you don't want to wear your shirt inside out, right? So you can the inside, you can see the stitches, all the ugly side of the clothing. So that is the same concept as this. Right, so now you don't have to be afraid, because at the end of the day, 3D model is just a bunch of, just think of it as a card. You, like cardboard, you glue them together and then become a polygonal shape. Right, there's nothing inside here, there's no volume inside here. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. Now if you want to delete the whole object, do not delete on the component, like select all the faces and delete, because you see, just go back to object mode. See, in the outliner here, the P sphere is here, right? So if I in the object mode and I delete, it will disappear, and even disappear in the outliner. But if I delete on the face component like this and delete, you will see that you won't delete the whole thing. There will be one left here, one pieces of it left here, and then you will see P sphere is still there, right? So that is the wrong way to delete everything. If you want to delete the whole thing, just go to object mode. How you know you're in object mode? You see the wireframe color is green color, because if you're in component, it will be blue color. See the blue color of that line. Okay, so make sure you go to object mode and then delete. Alright, now I'm going to teach you the tools for beginner to start with. Alright, so because there are many tools here. If you make sure you're in the modeling main menu mode, and also in the poly modeling shelf to do this operation. So you see mainly the tools to do 3D modeling is under meshed. These are all the tools you can use. Edit, meshed, alright, and mesh tools. These are the three main modeling tools that you can apply to your polygonal model. Alright, now another thing to highlight, do not use the curved surfaces model. There is a 3D model here. I'm going to show you here. I'm going to click a cube. You will see it's a cube, but it's a different game. This is a different modeling environment, right? It's a different thing. So just make sure that you are aware of that. So make sure you don't go here and choose poly modeling. Always go poly modeling. This is the method that we're doing polygonal modeling. Alright, now I'm going to increase the value of the faces here. I can multiply this actually by selecting this, right? And then make sure in the object mode, and then you go to your channel box over here, and then you see under the input PQ1. If you click that, then you'll be able to adjust the height. So let's say like this one is actually already a bit more like 1.4. See the value here, right? Let's just start over again, because I resized it just now. So I'm going to click in the cube. So the cube here, by right, the size is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, is the same size as the unit block here, right? I'm gonna reset this value here to 0 and 0, so it stays center in the 0, 0, 0 coordinate. Alright, so in polycube here, if I want the width and height to be let's say 2 centimeters, so I can click and drag from the top, and then the last one here you put 2 and hit enter. You will see now it scales up and become 2 by 2, 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter of cube. Okay, now let's see what we have more here. Now you see the subdivision width, subdivision height, and the depth. Now it is split into 1 by 1, but if I put, let's say, 5 by 5, you notice that the surface and the faces become multiplied into the power of 5, and you have a 5 by 5 smaller squares or faces on this one, no, on the faces that you see here. And this allow you to manipulate the model even more, because the more you have these things, the more faces you have on the 3D surface, the more you can manipulate it into whatever you want. That is the process of polygonal modeling. Alright, you start out with a primitive object, and then you slowly turn the shape into something that you want to model. Alright, you know, let's say you start with a cube. Down the line, 30 minutes, 1 hour down the line, it might end up becoming maybe a thumb drive, you know, so things like that. Right, now let's access the component, and I'm going to show you the first modeling tools that you're going to be learning. Right, so you're going to be learning about extrude. Now extrude is good to apply on the face mode. So let's go to the face mode, and I'm going to select multiple face here. Now I purposely don't select the middle one here, because I want to extrude whatever on the side here. Okay, so to apply the extrude, you must first select the desired faces, or just single faces that you want to extrude, and then you go to edit mesh, and then you see extrude. So just click on that. Okay, a gizmo here appear, and you can actually move it around if it blocks your view, and then I can increase the thickness. So I can type in the number to value of 1. See, now it goes to 1 centimeters. That's like way too long, too tall. I can also do it interactively by moving my mouse at the name thickness, and then click and hold my left mouse button, and then just slide my mouse up and down. Okay, let's say like this. So I go negative, so it goes inwards. If I go positive, it goes outwards. Alright, so once you're done, you can click OK. But before I do that, I want to also show you you can also adjust the offset. So the offset here will scale the extruded surface into into the size you want. Okay, I'm going to show you later after this. Let's just leave it as 0 first. To end the process, just click outside, left click outside, then it's called finished. Right, now to move on to the next one, I want to extrude this face now, and using the offset. Okay, of course I select this face and then go to edit mesh and then hit extrude. Right, but now my last operation is extrude. Right, so I don't have to go and waste my time and move my mouse there and then choose extrude again. What I can do is I can recall my last used tool, which is the G on the keyboard. So if I already select the face and then I hit G on the keyboard, you notice the extrude function of the tool is called back. It's called back. So now I can, further extend, adjust the offset. Now this is the offset. See, I can make it wider or make it smaller, but if the number is too sensitive, just dial in the numbers. Okay, so let's say now this is the thing that you want to avoid. You start seeing black artifact here. This is dangerous, which means you are crossing the faces together. It's like it's an error of faces, so you don't want to work with this kind of style. So make sure you work in the positive side like that, so it doesn't cross. If you collapse it too far, it will cross each other. So avoid that. Alright, now I want to reduce this to, let's say, 0.05. See, now it just shrink a little bit. Okay, so I click outside, right? Now I'm going to do again, and I'll show you another way. So I'm going to hit G again to call the extrude. Now instead of using this, I can also use the gizmo that you see here. This is the gizmo, right? I can just extend it by clicking on the arrow up. See, it extends. I can push it in or out. Or if let's say if I don't want, I want to scale it smaller, what I can do is I can then shift to the selection tool, use the selection tool. It will end the extrude process, but then I can adjust the surface. Okay, so another method is this is a very shortcut way. When you have these faces selected and you are using the move tool, if you hold and if you put your mouse at the arrow that you want, let's say I want to extrude this way, Y up, I hold shift and you see there's a word extrude there, right? So the word extrude there, then I can click and drag the Y up and it will extend. If I click again, see it extrude again. Now I got two faces here. I can also apply on the rotation. See, it does that as well, but the best would be either move or scale. So I'm going to use scale and hold shift, and you see I am able to extrude just this is what I call an inset. I am actually extruding, but it doesn't go up or down, it just go at the same place and it just shrink itself. This allow me to then use the move tool and extrude again inwards to create some sort of a framing. You see the framing there. I can create a framing here again. Okay, so I use a scale, hold shift, and then extrude in the center of that gizmo, and then I can use the move tool and then just extrude it back, or I can push it forward if I want to. Let's just push it forward, right? And yeah, then after that you can modify the faces, the vertex. It's like a fountain now, right? Looks like a fountain, and also like a duck. Alright, so that is extrude. So many possibilities that you can do with extrude. Oh yeah, one last thing I'm going to show you here. Extrude is, I'm going to extrude, but this time I'm going to use the edit mesh extrude style. Let's see, I adjust the offset. Hey man, I can just manually scale that surface to what I want. And then I can further extrude, hit G. I can extrude upwards. Now let's see. What I can also do is I can increase the division here. If I put 3, you notice along the extrusion from here to here, I already added few more loops of edges and faces by increasing my divisions. If I put more, I put 10, you will see it will divide to, usually it's about 9 now. You put 10, it becomes 9. Like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Wait, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Oh, okay, 10. All right, so yeah, you put 3. Yeah, of course it's 1 2 3. Okay, so that is how you can also multiply while extruding. So there's so many functions you can use extrude for. Another thing, again, I'm going to show you how you can extrude. I can select this loop of faces, and then I can hit G to extrude again, but this time I'm going to adjust the thickness to be a bit more wider, like that, maybe a 0.04. See, you notice now I am able to create some sort of a, some extrusion on the side. Right, so that's another way you can use extrude for. So it's not just one surface going up, you can also do on the side as well. Alright, so that is extrude. Now the next one is bevel. Okay, bevel. Now if I go back to object mode and unselect my model, you see everything is very sharp, right? Like it could even cut your fingers because it's very sharp. So it doesn't, you know, apply so much in real life. Real life, usually you have micro curve that catches the highlight when the light hits it. That's how you can tell that the object is you know, realistic. So how to create the realism in the model here is I can add a micro curve on the side here by using bevel. Okay, so this is the next tool, it's called bevel. Alright, so bevel it works better in edge mode. I'm going to go to edge mode and I'm going to select the edge that I want to apply first. Let's say I want to make this, instead of this super sharp, I want to make it slightly softer, slightly more. There's a micro curve there, so I'm going to middle click. I'm just going to double click here. See, it just stops here. It doesn't detect the whole ring here, I mean the whole loop, because it doesn't know where to go. Either to go to here or go to here. So never mind, I can assist Maya. Control Shift and double click here, Control Shift double click here, Control Shift double click this one. Okay, so this ensures that my model, see how quickly I can select this whole loop if I'm having problem with the loop detection. Now I'm going to apply the bevel on this loop of edges here. So edit meshed, and then all I need to do is click the bevel name. So now you see it bevels, it multiplies from one edge become 2. Here is the control panel here that I can adjust for bevel. It's called poly bevel 1. Now what I can do is I can adjust the fraction. Fraction is the gap, how far I want the gap to be. The numbers might be sensitive because we are working in centimeters, very small. So let's say I just want a little bit, so I just put there 0.02. See, it's very small. And then you see the edge here is still very sharp, right? So what I can do is I can increase the segment. It will multiply from 2 become 3 or 4 or 5 like that. So I can put this to 3. As you can see now, it has a more smoother curve. If I want it to be more curve, I can put higher value like 5. And now I can click outside to finish it, and then go to object mode and unselect, and you will see the object, the difference in the object. You see it catches the highlight. It makes it look more realistic on this side, right? So unlike this part, it's not realistic. I can also do that again on the inside. Apply bevel. Let's say I want a bigger one. I want something like this. Then I can increase my segment here, and now I can click outside and object mode. Now you see it's more softer on the inside here. Alright, so that is basically a bevel. I'm going to show you here another object of a cube, how you can use bevel also. Let's say I want the top part here to be a smooth curve, right? Now what I can do is I can go and select this loop, I mean these edges, and then apply bevel again. So like that, and then I can increase the depth, I mean the segment here. See that? The depth you can adjust inwards or outwards. So now that's a cool thing, right? So you can play around with that. You can choose uniform, patch. Just ignore this one first lah, right? Just mainly play with fraction, segment, and depth. Okay, let's say I just want normal depth like that. See, when I click outside and go back to object mode and unselect, you notice that it's a more nicer curve. I can also go to this, double clicking. You notice that it doesn't help me right now. It doesn't select the loop. It's because of it is confused. So you can also try apply bevel on faces and see what happens here. Alright, there you go. So it can, this is another way. If you can't select that way, I can also do it this way. Alright, now you see that it's more softer on the side. So that is beveling. So I'm going to write down here and just remind you what you have learned. You learn extrude. The tools extrude is to extend selected faces or singular face, and then bevel. Alright, and then the last one I'm going to show you here is insert edge loop. For now, I will show you more tools as we go along. So we start out for this class. This is just a second class. We start out with this, but still we can do more things here. And we can going to model a bowl just by using this tool, and one more at the end. There's a twist at the end of this video. Alright, so I'm going to show you now the insert edge loop. What is insert edge loop, right? So let's check it out. Let's check it out on this model here. Alright, so let's say I want to add a loop of edges here. I want to cut it out here, but so how do I do it? So you use the insert edge loop. So it's, of course, insert edge loop is better in the edge component, and then you go to mesh tools and then you see insert edge loop. That's where it is in the main menu. Now you notice your mouse cursor changed to this kind of arrow. So now what I do is I can click and drag the vertical edge, any vertical edge. See, I'm click and holding it. I'm not releasing my mouse, and there will Maya will show me a preview of dotted line. If I release my mouse, this is where I will cut it. Right, so let's say I want to cut it somewhere here, and then I release my mouse. Okay, now I'm going to show you, if you select this horizontal edge, what will happen. See, it will cut vertically. Okay, alright, so I'm going to undo that. Now if I again, it will always kind of cut the opposite of the edges angle that you choose. So if I select the vertical one, it will add a horizontal edge loop. It tries its best to detect the ring of the loop. So let's say I like it here, then I release my mouse. Now this allows me to further select these faces of the loop and scale it in, and there you go. Now I have a bit of depth to it, like a pillar or something. Now I'm going to show you here if I apply the same tools. Right, so let's go to the insert edge loop and click and drag. Notice it detects fine, right? It detects quite fine, but it cuts all the way through. But if I try to cut here, see, it only stops there. It doesn't go through here because it doesn't know where to go. Right, now I want to explain to you also what is this face here. Okay, now there are two good type of faces. Okay, there are, of course, our friendly quad. Try to always get quad on your surface all the time. Quad is the the four-sided vertices, 1 2 3 4. These are the quad. And then remember the sphere just now. If we can just create a sphere again. See, it consists of both types. The quad, this one, all these are quad, and then you got the triangle. So quad and triangle is fine, but always if you can get just quad is better. Okay, but this is a bit dangerous. This is what you call the n-gon, because you see how many vertices for one faces. For just this one face, it has more than four vertices. So this is what you call n-gon, right? That sounds like a Klingon or something. So I'll spell you here a bit. It's called the n-gon. That's the n-gon, right? So n-gon, you might want to try to avoid, especially if you want to export this to video games. You know, video games will not be friendly to an n-gon, right? Because what usually happen is when you try to export it into or import it into a video game, what the video game engine will do is they will try to triangulate all of these surfaces here. So if the surface is already triangle, then it's okay. A quad is actually made of two triangles. Let's see if I you know, if I draw a line from here to here, you'll see there's, let me just show you here. Right, so if I draw a line from here to here, you see you got two triangles, right? Okay, just delete, just quit that. Okay, so I want to show you here if what will happen if you import to video games. So you go to the edit mesh, or you go to mesh and then you see triangulate. So this is what happened here. You see this is a it just split this two quad, become triangle, no problem. Just do that again, but until here, when it gets to here, it's like, whoa, it's like this one have to be, you know, have to be cut here and there. It's really ugly stuff here. So some game engine will just straight away give you error and you cannot import it in. Okay, but if you're doing 3D animation inside Maya itself, it's okay. It's like you can, let me just undo this first, right? It's okay that you can have an n-gon once in a while, but not all the time, right? When if you just want to do animation inside Maya, but for video game, try to avoid it. Alright, so that is the use of these three tools that I have shown you just now, right? Extrude, bevel, insert edge loop. Now let's do an exercise, because I want you to do a bowl for your in the exercise. Right, now another thing is I want to make sure that my where am I looking at in 3D space is correct orientation. So make sure you rotate, you get this correct. Alright, see the Y up, X pointing to the right, Z pointing towards you. So now this is the now I'm looking at it like in a front view. Okay, so always try to check that out before you start. Alright, now I'm going to model a bowl, and the closest primitive to that is a cylinder. Okay, then I can just make this, flatten this a little bit, use the scale and just squash this and then put it above. Okay, wait, before I do that, I want to set the amount of triangle, the amount of faces that I need to start with. So always start with a smaller number, like this one here. Don't go like 200 on the side. You know, it'll be harder to control all these vertices. You see all these, do you want to move this one by one like that? It's a crazy thing to do, so don't do that. So always start with a very low number. So I'm going to start with a like a 12. Yeah, I know it's boxy like for PlayStation 1 game maybe, but later I'll show you some magic, another final tool that I haven't shown you yet, right? That I haven't shown you yet. Alright, so I'm gonna move this up, and then I'm gonna squash this on the y-axis using the scale tool. Gonna move it up, down, so it touches a little bit the floor. Alright, see see the orientation, Y is pointing here, Z is pointing here, Y is pointing up, X is pointing to the right. Right. So this is like the base of the bowl. Now I'm going to extrude by patiently holding Control Shift and just click, you know, so, and double check whether you don't have any faces selected at the back. Okay, always double check, because sometimes when you do like that and then that faces is selected, so better double check before you do your extrude operation, because later it will be harder to fix. Alright, so once I have this top faces selected, I'm going to extrude it up. So I'm going to use the move tool. I can just use a manual way, holding shift and then put my mouse on the Y and then just move it up like that, just one level. Okay, and then I'm going to scale the surface here wider, and then W, extrude up and scale wider, W up, hold shift, yeah, and then just use scale, right, and scale at the center. Always scale at the center wider. Now if you want to see the profile on the side, just can switch that on the side view and hit number 4 to see wireframe, so you can see through. And you can even just do the operation from here. Just last one here, extrude, scale at the center here. Now don't scale at this, it looks normal, but there you go, you are changing it to an oval shape. See something wrong there, right? I'm gonna undo that. Make sure you make sure you just scale it in the center here. Okay, so that's my bowl is done, on at least on the rough surface, on the outside. But we still cannot put anything inside this bowl, right? We cannot put noodles or food inside here, so we need to extrude it in. So I'm going to select all the triangle again, and I'm going to create a frame here by having an inset. Okay, so I'm going to use the scale and then hold shift and then extrude. So about here, I'm deciding the thickness of my bowl. So definitely not like this. This is too thick. It's more like the mortar. So this is about nice. This is what I mean by the thickness. I'm looking at this when I was doing that just now. So if you have this too thick, then it will be a thick bowl. Alright. Then I will Control Shift and select the triangle again, and then I can extrude inwards. Now before I extrude inward, I want to do it in the quad view, where I'm a bit more comfortable seeing the side profile of it. Okay, so I'll be doing my operation here, but keeping my eye on both of this. Okay, on both of this side view. Alright, so hold shift again and push it downwards. Okay, now you don't want to go all the way down and then scale it. Don't do that. Just go until, just follow the outer extrusion. Okay, and then use the scale again in the center. Adjust the angle to same like the one that is outside. See, I'm matching it here. See that I'm keeping my eye here. Okay, now it doesn't have to be super perfect, but it's okay. Just try your best. Now W, same thing, operation again, extrude in, stop there, and then scale. Right, again I'm repeating 2 more times for this. Okay, last one here. Alright, so that is the bowl with a nice inner shell. I'm going object mode, but yeah, it's It's nice, but it's very PlayStation 1-ish bowl that we can use. We cannot use it for film, so because it's too boxy and low polygon. We call low polygon low res or low res model because the number of faces or polygon is very low. Okay, now I'm going to show you. If you can see the preview on the high res version, on the high polygon version, here by clicking double, but you must be in the object mode to do this, and then you click number 1, and number 1 is the original shape, number 2 is the smooth preview of it, how it looks like in the high res version. Number 3 is the number 2 is with low and the high res. There's a cage of the low res here. Number 3 is just the high res. Right, cool. But this is not final. Remember, this is a preview. And the object is still low polygon like this. It's not finalized. Right. But if you see when I hit number 3, suddenly becomes smoother and softer, right? So like this edge here is softer, and this is soft as well. Now this is a bit dangerous because it's too soft. I want it to be hard edges here and here, so that the bowl will be more stable. Because if I hit number 3 here and I go to the side view, you see it's not really super flat because there is a curve here. So in real life the bowl will kind of wobble, right? Because it's not smooth, and you're not going to eat the noodle like that. So how are we going to sharpen the edges that we want when we change it to a higher resolution or smooth it later? So to do that is we need I'm going to use the insert edge loop or bevel. So I'm just going to choose bevel here. I got two options here, either bevel or either bevel or insert edge loop. So I'm going to use a bevel for this one. Okay, yeah, let me use a insert edge loop here just to show you I'm using two of these two to help me out. So add mesh and then insert edge loop. Then I'm going to add additional loop here. Now I'm putting it very close together, because the closer it is together, when you smooth it, it becomes more sharper. Okay, so now I'm smoothing it, the number 3. You see now this line is sharp already. Okay, now I'm going to show you, go back to edge and then number 1 back. Now I'm going to double click this, it will select the loop here, and then I'm going to use bevel now for that. You can actually use the insert edge loop, but I'm just going to show you how you can also do with bevel here. And then go to the edit mesh and then bevel. Adjust the fraction, make sure that it's just 0.05, very small, and then segment just put 2. Alright, now I got 3 loops here and 3 loops here closer together. So now this is more tighter actually. You'll see that this is more sharper corners rather than this one. Okay, now let's see that. Go back to let's see, I hit number 3 now. See the smooth version pops out. Go back to object mode, unselect, and you notice that see the edges are now sharper because there's more dense faces here. Right, so this is just a smooth version, but now it's not final, because when you render this it will still look like this instead of this, because this is just a preview. Now I'm going to show you how to finalize your model. To make it permanently high polygon, first thing you need to do is make sure you're in object mode and select the model. And if you look at the input on the channel box, you've got the build up of the things that you have applied to the model to a point of how it turned out to become a bowl like this, right? See all this extrude, tweak, faces, extrude, ring, split ring, bevel. So last one is bevel just now, right? So it's best to, these are all history. You need to delete the history to make the model more lighter. If not, it can give you problem. Okay, so to do that, you need to select your model in object mode, and then go to edit. Then you want to go to the delete section here under the delete by type. So what is it you want to delete? Choose history. See, now it cleans it up, but it's like a one way, you cannot go back anymore, right? So it's already all the things that you have applied have gone already, but it makes the model cleaner and lighter. Okay, now so the next part is to make the model become high polygon, to smooth it out. So to smooth it out, you need to, of course, again go to object mode, select the model, and then go to the edit, go to the mesh. Now the meshed, okay, this one mesh here. Remember, there's only 3 main tools for the modeling here, the 3 main menu here. So the mesh, and then you click, and then you see smooth. So just click one time. See, now the model multiplied itself, the faces become multiplied and it's more smoother, and this smooth panel pops up. It only divide one time. So if you want to make it smoother, more smoother, you need to divide more. So now don't go more than 4, you know, 3 should actually be enough already. So I'm gonna go by 3 and then hit enter, because if you go by more than 4, it will multiply to the extent that it might crash your computer. So just be careful. Right, now then I can click outside, and you notice that there are more smaller faces and the bowl are more smoother. Now at this point you don't have to hit number 3, no need, right, because your model is already smooth. So no need to preview it with the smooth version, because the model is smooth version in its final form. Okay, so you got your hard edges here, a little bit less hard edges here, and yeah, a bit softer on the top side. Right, so that's how you model the beginning of your modeling adventure. All right, so I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, so bye bye.